Hello, everyone. I wish you all a very happy new year as we start another year with Life Stories Worldwide. We are here today to bring you another story, a life story from Life Stories Worldwide. We bring you stories from all across the world, and they go out all across the world as well. We bring you stories of people who face challenges in their lives and how they've overcome those challenges. And you're going to hear a story of that sort today. We are live on StreamYard, on Facebook, on YouTube, Zoom, and also on our website, which is lifestoriesworldwide.com. You can watch it on there and tell your friends about these stories. We encourage you to also go to our YouTube channel, Life Stories Worldwide. There you can watch all the stories from previous Mondays of people's stories of how their lives have been transformed. Our life story today comes to you from Australia, where we have Iona Rossely waiting to share her story. Iona was a speed skier, and she represented Great Britain in speed skiing. She's also represented Ireland in endurance horse racing. And while she was doing speed skiing in France, she had an accident where she crashed at 160 kilometers an hour and shattered her leg in 8 places. Statistically, she should have died, but miraculously, she survived, and she's here today to share her story. So I hand over to you now, Iona. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome from Australia. It's been an interesting 2024 with flooding, but I'm sure everybody around the world has had some interesting weather conditions, I would say. So my story goes back to when I was 11. I have to admit I was probably beyond shy. If anyone spoke to me, I would just hide behind my mum. And even though I was the eldest of 4 girls, I was, seriously shy. And then my parents decided to send me to a convent school. So I got separated from my 3 sisters. We were, when it comes to faith, we were a Catholic family, very strict. My father was very strict. And we would be going to church every Sunday, and I would just sit there and I would have no idea what we were doing there. I found it very difficult. And when I got sent to the boarding school, which was a convent with Irish nuns in the middle of Wales, it was interesting to the point the first 6 months, I think I was just traumatized, because being shy and being with maybe 250 girls in dormitories and the strictness behind everything, I really, really suffered. And my parents also got divorced at the same time. Obviously, I left my 3 sisters behind. But then I found we're all looking for our identity and who we are, and I just knew there had to be more. But I realized that I was actually quite good at sports. So when I was doing netball and hockey and running and horse riding, which I'd done since I was like 3 years old, I suddenly realized that my identity was wrapped around sports. And that actually improved my personality to the point that I became more courageous, more bolder. I was confident. I thought, no, this is me. This is great. But I have to admit, I went from a shy, probably cute at that time, to a little bit of not a little bit. Okay, I was a bully. I totally changed, probably not into a very nice person. The world revolved around me and the poor nuns. And I have to admit, the Irish nuns were amazing. We had a brilliant education, really, really good. And I thank my father for that he would invest in us, which he did, that we would have that education. But they tried to expel me so many times, and my father would come and say, well, right, if Iona goes, then the other girls will go, my sisters. And they allowed me to stay until my O-levels and then asked me to leave. But in that time, when it came to faith, I obviously in church, I really struggled. My main prank in mass, as it was called then, was to sit on the edge of the pew in Sunday church and pretend to faint. And I would just roll over and just collapse into the aisle. And they go, oh, poor Iona, she's fainted again. And they drag me out. And I go, oh, good, got out of that one. So God to me then was, I don't know, ever even believe that he existed, because if he did exist, he lived on a far distant planet, and he was a God of rules, traditions, and rituals, and he wasn't interested in me. So when I left boarding school, I had one thing in mind, and that was to stay away from anything religious, anything to do with faith, because what I'd seen.
Life Stories Worldwide is on YouTube, and it's very easy to subscribe to our channel. Just click the bell and subscribe, and receive notifications of when we are live, or simply watch any of our other videos. So check it out and give us a visit.
Was not what I wanted. There was no relationship, there was no love. And I went off and I went to art college for a very short term. Didn't last for very long, because then I decided I wanted to become a ski instructor, as you do. And I'd actually had started skiing when I was 11 on a dry ski slope. We lived in Wales, and believe it or not, there was a dry ski slope. And I was on it when I was home all the time. I was on this dry ski slope. So when I left boarding school and then came out of art college, I just walked out. I said, I'm going to go to Switzerland to become a ski instructor, as you do. I had only skied on snow for 1 week, but I have this overwhelming passion to say, if someone else can do it, I can do it. Got on a flight to Switzerland with some friends who were already ski instructors. And they said to me, look, if you pass the skiing exam, fine, you can stay and you've got a job. So there's me, they said, well, how long have you been skiing? Oh, I've skiing a long time. Yeah, it's fine. But I didn't tell them it wasn't on snow. So I started skiing, did my in Switzerland, and I had about 5 days of intense training. And I did my skiing exam, passed with flying colors, and I was like, wow, I'm a ski instructor. This is amazing. And to cut a long story short, for the next 4 or 5 years, skied. I loved it, skied all over the world. I was skiing in France and Switzerland, Austria, Italy, having just the most amazing time. And I ended up working as chief ski instructor in a resort called Les Arcs 2000. And they had what they call a kilometre lancé, which means flying kilometre. And I used to watch these skiers go down the slope, and it was just so amazing. But I would watch them and I go, what is the point? What is the point of going straight down, no turning, just straight down? And the falls, I used to watch them thinking, wow, and horrendous falls. And I was like, I wouldn't do that. I reckon I can ski down most things, but going straight line in a straight line, these guys were doing 160 up to 200 kilometers an hour. And I'd look at them and go, no. Anyway, we have 10 ski instructors who worked for me at the time, and they all came up with an idea. why don't we try the kilometre launch? Because you can go as ski instructors like a quarter of the way up. You have the helmet on, long skis, and we were allowed to do it. And I was like, I'm not really sure. And they all wanted to do it. And I was like, fine. I didn't want to look like I was a chicken, but I felt like a chicken. So we got the long skis, got the helmet, and I was just, ready to go. And I got to the top where there was a marshal, and there was only one way up and there's only one way down, which is on the track. And there was no one else there. And I said, where's everybody else? And then I realized it was a prank. And I'm standing there, and I said to the marshal, I think I've changed my mind. And he said, well, you have to walk down. And I knew they were all at the bottom laughing. And I was like, no, I'm not walking down. And I said, how do I do this? And my legs were shaking. My whole body was shaking. And, the people in the distance on the bottom of the slope were this small. They were ants. And he said, well, you go down into a little egg position as low as possible. And the lower you get, the faster you go. And I said, egg position. And all I could think was egg, scrambled egg. I'm going to fall over. And he was like, no. He said, don't think about falling. That's not recommended. And I was like, oh, this is not good. Anyway, so I started off, and these huge skis that swung around, and off I went. And I was traveling down, and I don't think I breathed. I didn't breathe on the way down. I was like, what am I doing? And by the time I got to the bottom, you stand up, and because you stand up, you slow down. I was like, that was amazing. That was amazing. I just loved it. And it was, my lovely friends all came running over and go, wow. Well, I took my helmet off. I was like, I'm going to breathe. And I thought, that's it. This is what I want to do. It was like this. And a lot of things happened over the years, but this is a really long story. And I do have a book. I've written it all down in Racing on Empty, because I'm skipping lots of things here. But I found my identity in sports. And when I got that feeling of, just being scared, it sounds crazy, but being scared, I was like, that's living. That's really living. I feel like I'm alive. So I ended up skiing for Great Britain, and I was sponsored by Smirnoff vodka. I didn't drink vodka. Actually, I didn't drink at all then. Have the odd glass of wine now. And Alfa Romeo cars. And I was like living the dream. So I ended up being British Overseas champion, New Zealand champion. It was actually over a short period of time, because little did I know that I was going to have a major accident. But I had everything. I had...
If you would like to speak to us here at Life Stories Worldwide, you can, simply by dialing +44 7943 550287. Call us now.
Money, boyfriends, media attention, television interviews, car, sponsorship. It was just living the dream. And that, for me, was all I was focused on getting. But, you could win a race, and the next morning you wake up and you still feel like you're missing something. And I kept feeling I should be feeling different. I've spent so much of me doing that race and doing 160 kilometers an hour and just, weight training, the running, the visualization, and then you wake up and you've done really well, and you go, is that it? I should be feeling more. And you have this emptiness, and you go, oh, it's just me. And you push it aside, and you get back on the roller coaster, you get back on your skis, and you're doing it all over again. You go on and on and on until, and I know God did this, and I put it down to my mum. My mum was always praying for me, and I was like, you don't have to pray for me. I'm fine. And I remember the day that things changed was the day that I fell. And we were in a qualifier for the World Championships. It was the day before. I'd actually lost my voice. When I lose my voice here, my husband's always very happy because I'm good at talking. I'd lost my voice, and I ignored that. I thought, no, it's fine. And my technician, who looks after the bindings, which put the ski boot and the ski on, was sick, which means I had to use somebody else. So the technical side of that is so important, because you don't want to come out of your skis when you're traveling at that speed. I was pretty blasé about it, but we were way, way high up on kilometre lancé. And I'd already done one run, so this is my second run. So I'd moved up a level, and I'm looking down, and I've felt confident, and I've swung my skis around, and I jumped, and I went down into the egg position, and you accelerate so fast. It's like jumping out of a block of flats, and it's so steep. I mean, I loved it. And, the adrenaline, but this time I don't know how long I've been going, but suddenly my right ski comes off, bang, and I'm on one leg. And I suppose the reaction would have been to just fall and go with it, but I didn't. I was like, no. And I stood up and I put my heel down when I was traveling at I must have been over 100 miles an hour. I put my heel down, and it shattered my leg all the way up. And then I fell, and I felt like I was in this tumble dryer, like in a washing machine. And the strangest thing, I kept thinking about my dog, who was going to look after my dog, because I thought, this is it. Because the people that had fallen there before had not made it. And I knew that this is it, finished. There was no way I'm going to survive this. And everything, it happened so fast, but for me, it didn't. Everything was in slow motion. And for some unknown reason, I just felt God's hands on me as I was going down. Even though I felt I was going to die, I felt God's hands around me. And when I stopped, I actually went through the speed trap at 160 kilometers an hour on my bottom. And I think I'm still the fastest lady on my bottom, which is probably not a record I want to keep. Someone else can do that. I was amazed I was still alive, and I lay there, and all I remember was sitting up and looking and seeing bones sticking out of my ski suit. And then your body goes into shutdown. So it totally shut down, and I can't remember anything. The next time I woke up was just before I was going into the operating theatre. And they showed me, I could see the x-rays of my life. They didn't even look like a leg. It was just bones. And you're in survival mode, so you can't really think. And 8 hours later, they put my leg together. Wow, they did such an amazing job with it. I had a metal plate, 28 screws. They reconstructed my knee. Just amazing. And I remember the next day, my mum came, and the room was full of flowers. Now, just to go back a little bit, I probably wasn't the nicest person, really, because my whole focus had been on me and my sport and me winning. And I was amazed at the amount of people, ski instructors and friends, and it just came. And I was like, wow, why? And I probably wasn't thinking too much about myself, because you just, for me, I was going to get back out and go skiing. Metal leg or no metal leg, I was going to get back out. And it just really made me feel there's so much love out there what I don't deserve. But there was a love out there that I don't deserve, I still don't deserve. And I really felt the hand of God over me on that. And my mum came and she sat by my bed, she was praying for me, and I was like, but why did he take this away? Why did he